Hey everyone, welcome back to the second video in building our own Wordle companion app. As you can see on the right, we have the final version of what the Wordle companion app will look like. And in the first video, we built the UI for the first word. The only difference that we have right now is that if we click lock guess and then click on the buttons, nothing happens. And so what we want that to do is if we click once, we want it to turn yellow. And this would be following what Wordle tells us with the letter coming back as yellow being in the wrong spot. And we want to, if we click twice, to have that turn green to tell us that it's in the right spot. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to add this button clicking functionality to the Wordle app that we began to build in the last one. So in this case, what we care about and where we have to go is into the server. And so what we're going to do in the server is if we click the button, that's when we want it to change color. So in order to respond to a click of the button, we need to use an observe event. And so what we're going to observe is just for the first letter of the first word, which is going to be L1, W1. Okay. And then what we want to do is going to be put into those curly braces. And what we want to do is we want to count the number of times that the first button is clicked. We want to count how many times we've clicked this first button. And that's how we're going to capture it in this value just by assigning that to the value of the input. And so what we want to have happen is if we click it once, so if this value is equal to 1, then we want to remove a class. So we want to remove class. And that class we want to remove is the wrong letter class, which is just the default class that we have for all of the buttons. And then the selector, and this is just going to be where is it that we want to remove this class from. And that's just going to be on the first letter of the first word. So now that we've removed this class, if I save this and reload this app, if I click on it, nothing's really happening. We haven't done anything to add a class back. So we want to add a class this time. And the class that we want to add when we click once is wrong spot. So that wrong spot class is going to turn it yellow. And again, we can use the same selector here to tell Shiny that we want to do this for the first letter of the first word. So if I save that and reload the app, now if I click once, it turns yellow. Perfect. So I can keep clicking. It's not going to change anything. So that's our next step is else if the value, if I've clicked on it twice, we want to now remove the class that we added above. So I'm just going to take this class here that we added, paste that into remove class. And then what we're going to want to do after that is we want to add the class with a class of right spot to color it green. And again, the selector is going to be for the first letter of the first word. Perfect. So we can save that, reload the app. If I click once, it turns yellow. If I click twice, it turns green. Perfect. So now we just need to, if I click it a third time, now we just need to turn that back to the same color. So we're just going to do a basic else statement. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove the class that we added here. And we're going to add back the class of wrong letter. And I'm going to copy the selector here and paste that in. So now if we reload the app, if I click once, it turns yellow. If I click twice, it turns green. And if I click 3 times, it goes back to the initial coloring. So what happens if I click it a 4th time? If I click it a 4th time, well, nothing's going to happen, right? Because this value is counting how many times that we've clicked it. So if I go here and I do if value is equal to 1 or value is equal to 4, let's save this, reload, value equal to 1 goes yellow, 2, green, 3, nothing. Now value equal to 4, we see that go back to yellow. But let's say that we just want to click this a bunch of times. It would be really difficult for us to just keep adding value equal to 7, for example. So we don't want to actually do that way. The way that we want to do this is by using the modulo operator. So the modulo operator is going to give us a remainder. So if the value is greater than 2, if we've already clicked on the button twice, on the 3rd time, we want to overwrite that value. And we want to overwrite it with a value mod 3. So for example, if we click on it the 4th time, 4 mod 3 is going to give us a value of 1. So now we're back into this case. And then if we do 5 mod 3, it's going to give us 2. So now we're back to being green the 5th time that we clicked on it. And then if we do 6 mod 3, gives us 0. So now we're back into this else statement. And then it's going to be not yellow, not green, but just the base of what it is normally. So let's run this and see the change that it creates within our app. So we click on it once, goes yellow, twice, green, 3rd time, it goes back to the basic. And now if we click a fourth time, back to yellow, fifth time, green, 7, 8, and then we go 10, 11. So now we have it so that it changes yellow every single time that number would come up within the sequence, and then green the next time, and then back to the normal color that time. So what we can do to do this for the second letter would be, we're now doing this. I'm going to copy, find, replace, and we're going to look for L1. And we now want to do this for letter 2. So we want to replace L1 with L2. So now we do that here. We can reload the app, click once, click twice, click twice, third time, fourth time. So now this works for the second letter. And then we can do this again for the third letter, fourth letter, fifth letter. And that's how we could do this, but that's not actually a super efficient way. This server file is going to become really long at that point because we're going to have 5 of these chunks of code just for the first word. But we have the potential to have 6 words that we would need to color. So that's a lot of code that would be in here. And instead what we can do is we can write this into a function so that this all is happening in the back end, but our server file is really easy to read and really easy to clean if we need to go back in and make any adjustments. So in the next video, what I'm going to show you is how to functionalize this observe event for the server, but we're also going to functionalize the UI that we built before so that we can easily add in the second word, third word, fourth word, fifth word, and so on. So stay tuned for that next video where we will functionalize all of this code that we've written so far. See you guys then.